The courtroom is cold and impersonal, its silence broken only by the occasional rustling of papers. Judge Malcolm Reed, impeccably dressed and tightly composed, sits high above on the bench. A man who built his life on discipline and logic, Reed has a reputation for being stern and unsympathetic. A bailiff announces the next case. Bailiff. Case number 274. The People versus Lorraine Turner. Charge: loitering within 50 feet of federal property. A woman shuffles forward, her steps uneven. Lorraine Turner looks like a ghost of a past life. Mid-50s, wearing tattered layers and fingerless gloves, she carries a yellowing folder that she holds like a sacred relic. Her hair is streaked with gray and matted in places. She does not look up. She stares at the floor. Judge Reed eyes her with faint disdain. He sighs. Judge Reed. Loitering again, Ms. Turner. That's the third time in 6 months. What do you have to say for yourself this time? Lorraine, softly. I wasn't bothering anyone. Just needed a place to sit out of the wind. Judge Reed. And the public sidewalk is your living room now? We've been over this. Lorraine, raising her eyes for the first time. We have. There's something in her gaze, direct, tired, and oddly familiar. Reed squints. Judge. Reed, have we met before? Lorraine nods slowly, then speaks, her voice steadier than expected. Lorraine. Columbia Law, class of '94. You used to sit in front of me in constitutional law, Professor Henley's class. A pause. The room goes still. Reed stares at her, as if she's suddenly speaking another language. Judge Reed. That's not possible. Lorraine. We even argued a mock case together once. You were the closer. Brilliant. I took notes for you when you had the flu. Columbia Law Lecture Hall, 1994. 2 students, young, bright-eyed Malcolm and confident, laughing Lorraine, sit side by side. Books and highlighters everywhere. She scribbles notes. He's coughing into a tissue, whispering thanks. Back to present. Judge Reed shifts in his chair. The courtroom murmurs faintly. The bailiff looks confused. The prosecutor adjusts her glasses. Judge Reed. Ms. Turner. Lorraine, what happened? Lorraine, shrugging. Life. Divorce. Depression. I took a break from work. Thought I'd bounce back. Then my mother died. I didn't have anyone left. No safety net. Before I knew it, I was applying for food stamps and sleeping in shelters. Judge Reed. You were top of your class. Lorraine. So were a lot of us. Doesn't shield you from life's punches. Montage. Lorraine's life. Unraveling. Lorraine packing her office after her law firm shuts down during the 2008 crash. Crying alone in a dark apartment, surrounded by unopened bills. Her car being towed, her phone shut off. Sleeping in a shelter, clutching her folder of degrees and bar certifications. Back to courtroom. The silence in the room deepens. Reed looks down at her folder. Judge. Reed. What's in the folder? Lorraine slowly places it on the table and opens it. Inside are pristine documents, carefully preserved. Her Columbia Law diploma. Letters of recommendation from former professors. Bar certifications. Photos of her with colleagues from her firm. She closes the folder gently. Lorraine. I carry it to remind myself I wasn't always invisible. Judge Reed. Why didn't you reach out to anyone? To me? Lorraine, smiling faintly. Pride. Shame. I watched people I once mentored, now making partner. How do you explain falling that far? Judge Reed. So you've been surviving on the streets for? Lorraine. 7 years, off and on. Shelters, tents, libraries, when they'll let me in. Judge Reed, quietly. You argued federal cases once. Lorraine nods. Tears threaten her composure, but she holds steady. Lorraine. And now I argue for a blanket. Reed sits alone, Lorraine's folder open on his desk. He reads the recommendation letters again. The contrast between the woman he once knew and the woman he saw today haunts him. He picks up his phone and dials. Judge Reed. Yes. Get me the director of Women's Legal Aid and call someone at the Homeless Outreach Program. I need to pull some strings. Lorraine sits in an office, cleaner now. Her clothes donated, her eyes still wary. A counselor helps her fill out forms. This referral from Judge Reed opens up transitional housing, and if we can verify your legal credentials, we may be able to place you in a pro bono legal support program. Lorraine says nothing but grips the pen tightly. Lorraine sits at a desk. She's reading a legal journal, the same kind she used to cite. Her fingers hover over the pages as if touching a life she thought was lost. Judge Reed presides again. His posture, though still rigid, is softer now. Lorraine walks into the courtroom, not as a defendant, but seated in the gallery. Cleaner, calmer. Next to her is a woman in a legal aid badge. Lorraine is shadowing her as part of her reintegration. During a recess, Reed calls her to the bench quietly. Judge Reed, you're looking better. Lorraine, I'm trying. The nightmares don't go away, but the silence is easier now. And I got an offer to mentor some law students in the Shelter Outreach Program. Judge Reed, you still remember Henley's lecture on moral responsibility? Lorraine, smiling. Justice without empathy is tyranny in disguise. Judge Reed, I quoted that last week. Took me 30 years to understand it. 6 months later, Lorraine stands at the front of a modest auditorium, speaking to a group of wide-eyed law students. Lorraine, I was you once. Then I became what many of you walk past on your way to class. Life is not always fair, but we must be. Law is not just theory. It's what we owe each other as human beings. Judge Reed sits in the back row, unnoticed. He listens, humbled, as she continues. Lorraine, time can change your fortune. So never look down on someone just because they've fallen. Because one day, you might need help getting back up too. Reed and Lorraine sit with paper cups between them. It's raining outside. Judge Reed, you taught me something I never learned in court. Lorraine, and you reminded me I wasn't forgotten. Judge Reed, I plan to establish a scholarship in your name for law students from shelters. It'll be the Lorraine Turner Justice Grant. Lorraine, choking up, thank you. That means more than I can say. Lorraine walks past the courthouse where her life began to change. She no longer looks down. Her shoulders are squared, her coat zipped tight. As she passes a man on the street wrapped in blankets, she stops, kneels, and offers him her coffee. Lorraine, you warm enough tonight? He nods. She pulls a card from her pocket. Lorraine, there's a place. They helped me. I'll walk you there. She offers her hand. He takes it. They walk off into the falling dusk.